Good afternoon. Welcome to our Dell Music Lounge intimate, in-person, live audience. Say hello on the radio. This afternoon, we welcome Strand of Oaks. He is Tim Showalter, plays as Strand of Oaks. Figure we just clear that up right away.
It gets confusing sometimes.
In Heaven is the name of the new record. We want to thank our friends at Flying Embers, Toss Pizzeria, and Rambler Sparkling Water. So, before we get to the music, I should say New Austinite, Tim Showalter.
Yes. Yes.
You came here for a South by Southwest 2019. I mean, you've done South by before, but you go out to Luck, Texas, you go to the Mohawk, you go to the Continental, and then you say, I want to move here.
It's not my decision, it's my wife's decision, Sue, who's here. And I was just waiting for her, maybe for a decade, to finally say, can we move to Austin? I was like, yes, we can. But it was the fillet of South by. It was like Willie's, it was a perfect, maybe I planned it, maybe it was strategic to be like, we're doing all the fun things. We'll close the deal here for the Austin move, so.
And then a pandemic set in, and you've seen none of the town.
Yeah, but my garden's awesome right now, so.
There you go. All right, let's do this, and then we'll talk more. Strand of Oaks, live in the Dell Music Lounge.
Thank you. I believe that ecstasy happens when we all get together. Standing right in front of me, feeding off the energy together. You're looking for identity, freaking out a little bit together. Just like when we were kids, all the bad things we did together. I don't wanna drag you down. I don't mean to drag you down. Laughing is a self-defense, crying at my own expense together. Yeah, I'm still wearing black if it's safe to walk around in leather. The megaphone are cleared away, you just hope the good ones last forever. Change the channel, last the rock, make a room for baseboard bullets. I don't wanna drag you down. I don't mean to drag you down. I just like hanging. Indiana tall corn straddling the time zone wishing. Grandma's in the backyard yelling, wrangling all the cousins. Dad brought home the big screen and the microwave oven. And maybe it's the solar wind pushing us further from my mother. I don't wanna drag you down. I don't mean to drag I just like Thank you. This is really nice. Jimi Stan in heaven, making friends, going to shows. In my dreams, I just hope they're having a blast. Jimmy found Stan in heaven, sitting in a sun-filled room. All the galaxy in view, Jimmy and Stan. Back in life, I wonder why we hang around so long. For me, it's all the songs I haven't found. We're born with flaws, conditions, generational anxieties. Scream and look at me, it's all for show. But not Jimmy and Stan. Not Jimmy and Stan. Now I don't have my buddy. He knew me so well. It's hard to be happy or even go out without Jimmy and Stan. Not Jimmy and Stan. Not Jimmy and Stan. Not Jimmy and Stan. Oh, Jimmy and Stan. Jimmy and Stan in hell, making friends, going to shows. In my dreams, I just hope they're having a blast. Jimmy found Stan in heaven, sitting in a sun-filled room. All the galaxy in view, Jimmy and Stan. Oh, Jimmy and Stan. Thank you.
Strand of Oaks live on Austin City Limits Radio in our Dell Music Lounge. So we talked about this a moment ago. There's some anxiety with getting back out there. There's also obviously a lot of depression and anxiety about having to stay in as long as we've stayed in. So this is sort of that new weird conundrum where we're headed back out there, and there's an element of joy, but there's also an element of anxiety, and I know you're feeling that.
Absolutely. And I also think we were discussing this too. My favorite way of communication is like not raw but real communication, and I found that over this course of us being away from people, a lot of those layers that is not necessary in my experience talking to people have been stripped away, and it's real. And that's something that's very hopeful about, I find, with, you know, people and us getting together again, that like we kind of prioritize things. And I think we realized, hey, we should not ever take for granted the fact that we get to be around people and see people and find that connection that you can't find that on the internet. Like you need to just be around people sometimes. And it's been anxiety, like joyful anxiety, I guess, is the way I'd explain it.
I mean, there is that connection with an audience that, for instance, that first line of Galacticana, ecstasy is, what's that line?
I believe that ecstasy happens when people get together.
Yeah, I mean, so we've obviously been missing that connection. And you, as the guy that provides that for a crowd, did you know how much you'd miss that?
Oh, it was rough. Like my wife and I, we live in a great neighborhood in South Austin, and we'd take walks, and she'd want to get exercise, which is good for me as well. But she ended up calling it I Go on Tour because we couldn't get any exercise because I'm so innately needing to talk to people that every other house, how's the roses, Virginia? It's doing good. Like, I just couldn't. I made so many friends in my neighborhood because I like people. Like, and it was rough for me. Like, I felt like a part of me was that I thrive off of because, like, part of playing music feels like an excuse to not be lonely, you know? And I get to make noise and stuff, but it's never one-sided that the audience is getting the show, like, and they're the ones receiving. Like, the band, at least for me, I almost feel selfish because I take so much from a concert, like the sacredness of it, and it's just it's nice, and whatever capacity it can happen is great.
He is Tim Showalter. Tim Showalter, Strand of Oaks, and the record is called In Heaven. So let's do this multiple choice. You want to talk about death or the Grateful Dead?
Oh, they're kind of one and the same to a certain extent, metaphysically. I'll let you.
Let's do both.
Yeah, sure.
We'll start with death.
Yes.
Death looms over this record.
Yeah.
Yet it's not a gloomy record.
I think that I felt like I was deeply. I felt deeply responsible for handling certain situations, some sad times my wife and I went through, and I got to this realization where, like, sad on purpose is not necessary, and the fact that you get to be loved is the ultimate gift. So in response to that love, you know, it's got to be as much as you can give. Like, it's got to be. There was no room for, like, melancholy on this record. There was only room for celebration, to say that I was lucky enough in my life to be loved by these people. And I think that's like, if a funeral is a giant fireworks show with, like, Led Zeppelin and Queen sharing the co-headline bill, like, that's what I hope death is, you know? Like,
well, that's the second line thing in New Orleans.
Yeah.
You know, where they literally march in the street.
Exactly.
And celebrate.
Yeah. And that's not what it's like for a German background, Indiana-born Mennonite. You don't have that happen. It's like there's not even a piano in the church. Like, it's just like a stark wooden cross and sadness. And it's like, I'm going to break that tradition a little bit.
The Stones are in town Saturday night. If you had to choose, the Stones are over here. Well, we'll call it Dead and Company, but let's go back in a fictional world. Oh. The Dead's over here. I mean, because you've got a group of guys who talk about the Dead together.
Yeah.
Like, and you've got the Deadhead sticker on the guitar.
Check your head, yeah.
Sell me on the Dead.
The Grateful Dead is, I think Bob Dylan explained it best. He wrote one of the most moving eulogies for Jerry Garcia, and he basically said Jerry Garcia was American music. Just everything you've ever imagined in America, through all the different influences and all the different backgrounds, Jerry Garcia just encapsulated bluegrass, blues, jazz, and he wasn't like copying them. He just kind of felt them in him, and it was like I just think, like, I feel like Bach or somebody would come back to life and hear, like, Morning Dew introduction and be like, that's great. Like, you know, it's just as high level music as possibly created. And it's like in my room, I have 3 posters in the room where I write my music, and it's Fela Kuti, Jerry Garcia, and Leonard Cohen. And I call them my uncles because I just kind of pull from them. Like, I need them up on my wall to just look up to and be like, what should I do here? Yeah.
I mean,
I love the Stones too. I mean, it's a tough call.
That might have been unfair.
Yeah.
You've got those 3 uncles. You also say Austin made this record.
Yeah.
And that's because you moved here right around the time of making it, or because walking around the neighborhood, you soaked in what makes Austin Austin? Where does Austin make this record?
I always have to preface, like, I don't mean to sound like too spacey, but there is and I feel like this is relatable for people in Austin, but there is something ethereal and felt like the air, the smell, the green, the brown, the heat. Like there was something in this John Steinbeck primal quality that felt that I was either lived here in another life, or there's just, and that soaked into my record. It was like, you know, I love the music here. I love everything about this town culturally, but also just what Austin is in this planet is just, it feels rejuvenating. And someone asked me like the same question, and I just said heat, like being outside and being in my yard, and just like I've waited for that my whole life, and I've lived in some wonderful places, but never could I confidently say that my location influences the songs. But Austin is just, there's something like in the water, or it feels like and it's, I hope it's somewhat relatable, because there's just something magical here. And I felt that the first time I was here 13 years ago or more. It was just like, how does this place exist? And I still get a slight, not a panic, but just like bewildering realization, because the Austin airport always felt like I get to come here for 2 great days, then I have to go home. And like whenever I fly home now, I'm in the Austin airport, and I open the doors and I smell the air. I'm like, oh wait, I live here. This is where I live now, and it's amazing. Like it's incredibly important in my life.
And what's amazing for all of us is we just met the guy that moved here for something other than his tech job.
Yeah.
You're special that way.
I know. Don't put me by a computer. It's just, I can barely turn them on.
All right. Strand of Oaks, the new record is called In Heaven. Once again, live from our Dell Music Lounge, Strand of Oaks.
Thank you. This song's for John Prime. Where you gonna hide when the mist is gone? Take it out back and use it in a song. You're screaming in a pillow and she can't hear you. Drop it in the water and I still miss you. The master calls back everyone. There's a blue oasis. I can almost taste it. The master calls back everyone. John's on a walk somewhere in Chicago. You're losing our leaders, who you gonna follow? It might have been the move, it might have been the lightning, might have been something much more frightening. The master calls back everyone. There's a blue oasis. I can almost taste. The master calls back everyone. The master calls back everyone. John's on a walk somewhere in Chicago. John's on a walk somewhere in Chicago. John's on a walk somewhere in Chicago. The master calls back everyone. The master calls back everyone. The master calls back everyone. Thank you. Thank you so much for coming here, and ACL Radio for having us out. This is really fun. Just very fun.
They say the train leaves at night. We were lying in our beds, fingers tangled in the wires. For his black bog is corn. Better board up the windows, hide the gold inside the barn. And I swear I hear her in the field, the drifters sneaking past the gates, looking for your steel. And the rumors spread throughout the school of a saber-toothed tiger swimming in an empty pool. She was the river that collapsed the dam. She's walking on my land. Bows and arrows travel at the speed of light. You keep propping up the kids, they're gonna suffocate the fire. You go deeper in the woods, your signal never gets high. Kept moving around the school of a woolly mammoth sunbathing by the pool, and the saber-tooth smiling for the picture looking cool, and the woolly mammoth sunbathes by the pool. Yeah, we're mixed within the moonlights, and the lonely hearts move, and I hope I get baptized in a lake, coked up in Greenwich Village or Mardi Gras parade. Time is the new morning wrapped in weeds. Yeah, time means nothing if you can dream. Time is everything in between. When I heard the train Bob's coming, better put your best shoes on. Hey, Bob's coming, better put your best shoes on. We walk to the river, singing a whole lot of love. We walk to the river, singing a whole lot of love. I heard the train leaves at night. I heard the train leave last night.
Thank you.
Strand of Oaks live on Austin City Limits Radio from our Dell Music Lounge. Thank you.
Thank you.
You played a couple of shows, small ones, in South Austin a couple of months ago. Is there
Yeah.
anything we know, what, 2022, I assume?
Yeah, I've got,
Well, I mean, here.
tomorrow
Yeah.
I'm announcing, I don't know how it works, but tomorrow I'm doing, I'm announcing it, so I'll just do it now. January 6th, we're doing kind of like a solo show at 310 at ACL. So we're going to
great.
be there January 6th. That'll be like the first real Oak show we've got So I'm very excited for that. But those are on sale tomorrow, I think. So.
All right, and that's 310acllive.com. All right, so thank you.
Thank you.
And thanks again to Flying Embers, Toss Pizzeria, Rambler Sparkling Water, and our live audience.